Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Help Nobody Told Me. I'm Jasmine Shapiro. I'm a realtor here in the north suburbs with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Chicago, here with my co-host Shannon and also business partner.
Hello and welcome. So I'm super excited. Not only am I a realtor working with Jasmine, but I also serve on our local board at NSBAR, North Shore-Barrington Association of Realtors. I am the president-elect, so they've kept me around for a while. They got a couple more years to put up with me on the executive team before they give me the boot. But I'm excited today that we have invited our CEO at NSBAR, Jeff Lasky, to have a little talk with him about some of the things that are going on in our industry.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about Jeff and his background. You've been with NSBAR for 4 or 5 years?
6 years
Okay,
in March.
Okay.
Actually, literally March 12th of 2020 is when I started. And the reason it's so easy for me to remember is I literally started on a Thursday and closed the office by Monday because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so, it was kind of a weird situation for sure. So we ended up closing the offices, and literally in terms of people, being here full time for a few months. I mean, it must have been about 6 months, and then right from there, we decided because everybody was...
Since everybody's at home, let's remodel.
That's exactly right.
So we have
exactly how it works.
an incredibly beautiful space to work in, to invite vendors and our realtors in to utilize and share, and it's been a wonderful
and a great opportunity to remind everybody that this is the member space. So all you need to do is call. If you need to have a meeting here, clients, if you're an office and need to have an office meeting here, very easy. Just give a call to the front desk and 847-480-7177 and ask them if there's an availability. It's no charge. It's your space.
Yeah.
So
and it's great. Maybe your office is in Chicago and you're meeting clients out here. It's a great place to be able to meet them and look professional and everything.
Everybody is friendly here and helpful, and it's really a beautiful place also to bring your clients.
One of the things about NSBAR is it's a bit of a boutique association.
That's
we like to think of it. And we do service the North Shore and the Barrington regions. And I think that it has that feel when you walk in. It's, that place where everybody knows your name. They know your name, so it makes it fun.
Thank you. And one member at a time, right? That's our mission. And we take it very seriously, as you both know. And the reason, we had to, I guess the best way I could say it is that it's our differentiator, right? So we all know we have these large associations that are right next to us, very unique in the whole country. We'd be the largest association in many states, but here we have these two large associations, right, that are right by us. But guess what? They do some stuff.
They do some incredible things.
Great stuff. We do our own stuff that is different. And we have the ability to provide that personalized service that I think really sets us apart. And we hire towards friendly, wonderful, nice people that are going to be up front. We really do. And if they're not nice, we get rid of them. No, I'm only kidding. We figure that out.
And if you haven't met Regal at the front door, you have to come meet her. Yeah. It'll be worth the trip, I promise. So, Jeff, before you were here at NSBAR, you were with IMRED for a long time.
MRED technically since it was created, which was 2008.
Okay, and tell our listeners what IMRED is.
Yeah, what is MRED?
So that's Midwest Real Estate Data, the multiple listing service. And so, and I think everybody kind of gets the gist of it being the database of listings that all of the real estate agents, and it's essentially all of Illinois now, that they put their listings in this database to make it available for other agents to see for many years, right? MLS has also provided offers of compensation, which they no longer do. But obviously there's still a tremendous value in finding out about properties that are available for purchase, for sale,
right.
etc.
And as agents, we share those links with our clients, and it allows us to share that the inventory and all those things. So there's some changes going on at IMRED. There are some changes in the industry. There are some more lawsuits going on and all kinds of things out there. So we want to talk about some of those things. One of the great things about having Jeff as our CEO and being on the board here at IMRED, at NSBAR, is that he makes it one of his missions to really keep us informed about things going on in the industry. So he is constantly making sure that we have the most updated articles, news clips, anything that's going on in the area and in the industry, so that we know and we can answer questions, because being in the positions we are, oftentimes people come to us as a source of information. What's going on with IMRED? What's going on with, the PLN, our private listing network?
I'm very glad that you said that, by the way, just to say, because I feel it's part of my job to make sure you guys are as informed as possible, right? So when you come to these board meetings, and we've done a great job at NSBAR of really keeping to the high-level issues. You guys don't need to be running the place on a day-to-day basis, but our board is educated and informed, and that obviously results in what? Better decisions.
Right.
So,
Right. And he, of course, is a local superstar and was on lovely portrait on the cover of Chicago Agent magazine last month. And talking
I hate
about the
attention.
2026 reset and a little bit of a market update that he gave. So well respected in our community.
Yes.
Well, thank you.
We appreciate that.
So Jeff, where you're sitting right now, what would you say is the biggest structural change happening in real estate?
Okay, well, that's a big question.
I know, it's kind of loaded.
Because, from the perspective, I'm going to try to drive, and you guys tell me if you want me to talk about it differently, but in driving it towards the viewers, which are likely to be brokers, right? And driving it towards that, we often have change, and it's, the sky's falling, right? Like when the settlement came down, and you have to have everybody sign buyer agency,
Which was August 17th of 2024. It has now been a year and a half, and we're still
here.
alive and kicking.
And you know what? There's
Still
changes all
surviving.
the time. During COVID, there were changes that took place.
Absolutely.
Companies all over, not just real estate, have changes constantly.
So I think often when you say what kind of changes are out there, I think that it's more what changes are perceived to be having a big effect that maybe aren't having such a big effect. And that's one of them, right?
Yes.
It's everybody, not only is everybody still doing business, but one could argue that it was a really beneficial change, that it's really helped people to educate buyers about how this all works.
And you're talking about the lawsuit that happened in 2024, resulting in any buyer needs to sign a buyer's
As a
agreement
part of the settlement.
as
Right.
part of the settlement. And that also is now Illinois state law.
Yeah, it became law January 1st, right after that. I mean,
Right.
obviously just essentially mimicking
In the
modeling.
state of
Right.
Illinois.
So that's the buyer's agreement that you're referring to.
Yeah, so I'm referring to that, and everybody out there who's in the business knows they have to be doing that. And
if you're a buyer, you need to understand that. If you're working with an agent, we can't show you property till it's signed.
yeah, it's as simple as that. So what changed, the biggest change that resulted in that was really a benefit is that before there were agents that used buyer agency agreements, right, with buyers, but not everybody used them. So agents that insisted upon that sometimes ran into situations where buyers might say, no, I'll go with somebody else who's not making me sign anything. Now it's become just commonplace. It's just everybody has to do it. Everybody's used to doing it. And again, it's really helped in making our buyers much more educated about
I think that's the biggest thing.
how people are compensated.
Well, if we are going to work with the seller, we have a listing appointment and we sit down and we talk to them about the process. Our buyers deserve the same amount of respect, and it kind of forces us to do that, which is, I think, an important piece of our business. And it's important, but the buyer's market is tough right now because we still have tight inventory here in the Chicago market.
Right.
That's not true nationwide, but here our inventory is still tight. So if you're a buyer, you need to understand what you're walking into and what a multiple offer situation might look like. So you need to be educated.
Yeah.
And that gives us an opportunity to do that. But also from an agent's perspective, it also gives us an opportunity to see, are we working with a serious buyer? Let's not drop everything we're doing to run out and do showings
Right.
for someone that's not really serious about committing to working with us.
Oh, that's a great point. Absolutely.
So it really solidifies a relationship for us.
Absolutely. So that's that part of it. You say off the cuff, people are probably hearing some discussion about non-realtor access to the MLS. And so I want to clarify a couple of things here, because there are a couple of things, and I say...
Some myths?
Well, I say myths, or, people, it's something I wouldn't think of, but it's interesting. I've heard it enough that, people will come up to me and say, oh, so movers can get in now, inspectors can get in? No, it's still licensed real estate professionals, that those are the only people that can get into the system. But what, at this point in time is a very small amount of agents in residential that are not realtors, that are not members of the local realtor associations, the state association, and the national association, right? Those all three go together,
Which,
right?
once you are a member of those organizations, that gives you the title of realtor.
Realtor.
Two syllables, realtor.
Exactly. No, exactly right. So there may be a point in time in the future that, organized real estate, specifically the National Association of Realtors, is having its challenges right now. They're addressing those challenges, but there may be, for business reasons, whatever reasons, that there may be
Individuals.
agents, maybe individuals, brokers out there, brokerages, that choose that they don't need to be or don't want to be a part of NAR anymore. And the question at that point in time is, well, if they aren't part of NAR, how would they still be able to do business in the area?
Because right now, you have to be part of NAR in order to access the
Right, so,
MLS.
and the way it exactly works is you have to be a part of one of the local realtor associations that have access to MRED. Okay, they have a contractual relationship with 15 different associations now throughout the state. And of those 15, by the way, 7 are the founding associations, the ones that created NSBAR. And you might say, oh,
Created MRED.
I'm sorry, created MRED. You might say, oh, there's only 7. Well, there were 17 at one point, and through mergers and stuff, it's down to 7.
Okay.
Those 7 are a part of those 15, right? And NSBAR is one of the founding associations of MRED. So access to MRED has to be through those associations, right? So that's where, okay, if I don't want to be a member of the National Association of Realtors anymore, how am I still going to be able to get access, because I won't have a realtor association that I belong to that I can go through anymore? Well, the answer to that question is the local realtor associations being able to offer, as a service, not as a membership, but as a service, access to the MLS and maybe other things through those, through the local MLS anyway, but not as a member. So there's all sorts of
they might have
ramifications.
access to the MLS, to forms,
Forms and contracts.
and contracts, which is important because as realtors, we all want to be working from the same playbook.
Right.
You don't want to
Exactly.
get a contract and it's a piece of paper you've never seen before and you're like, I don't even know how to read this.
Well, it's one of the first questions that came up is, we've done all this hard work creating what's now 8.0, right?
The contract we presently use
is
Right.
8.0, right? Well, I'm sorry, the
for
multi-board
the sale
contract, right?
of a home.
And it's like, well, okay, so if we don't let non-realtors use that document, we're punishing our own members, right?
Right.
They want to use a document that they're familiar with. And to be frank, when the issue arises, and I suspect that we're going to have non-realtor access very soon.
But it's
okay?
not in place yet.
Not in
yet.
place yet, but very
Might be
soon. And
soon.
even when it's finally agreed to, and we're working out the details right now, even when it's finally agreed to, there's going to be some ramp-up time that needs to take
Sure.
place, right? But when that all happens, right, I think the key is that these guys, we want it to be as seamless as possible for our existing members, right? The other thing is, frankly, most of these non-realtors are really going to be former realtors, right? That know the thing, they know how to get in it, they know how to do
Right.
all that. It's just they have a slightly different way of doing it. And the reasons for that, I'm not going to go into, because they could be anything from, political high-level stuff to price, costs, and all that other neat stuff. But suffice it to say, it's something to pay attention to out there when you see information coming out from the association regarding non-realtor access.
So the other thing, if you've been listening to the news that you might be hearing about, is Compass has bought Anywhere. So we now have a very large real estate organization nationwide. Locally, it's a large portion
It
of our
is-
membership.
It is a large portion.
When we
of our
look at
membership.
Compass and Anywhere together. How do you think that affects the business?
Well, the way it's affecting the business right now, and so I'm gonna take it. All right, so we'll talk for a second about any organization that has a large amount of membership, right, is obviously going to have an impact. And the specific impact that's arisen with Compass right now, vis-a-vis MRED, vis-a-vis Zillow, right, is this private listing network issue. And, you know, to give the short version of this, and it's not just Compass, there are other companies that have done this, but Compass has, I think, gotten a lot of attention for having its own private network, private database, if you want to call it that, of listings.
Kind of inter-office within their...
Right. And again, the idea that that's something new, I mean, it's not something new, but to have the technology and to have the amount of agents involved probably is different. It makes it a little bit more unique. But Compass, you know, has, you know, that's part of its business plan. So whatever, we're not going to talk about Compass specifically, but any company that wants to hold out and have things in its own private network, well, guess what? MRED looked at this issue a few years ago and said, hey, you know what? Maybe we should create a private listing network within MRED. Now understand, and here's the in my mind, the beauty of this private listing network is the old allegations about keeping listings off the system or out of other agents being able to see them had a lot to do with allegations of fair housing issues, right? That you didn't want everybody to see the property. You only wanted certain people to see the property. Well, MRED addressed that by saying, okay, look, here's a private listing network that you can use to pre-market the property, to test pricing, to do stuff like that, but you're still going to be showing it to every agent out there. So you're not excluding people, right, necessarily from seeing it. Now,
And I can tell you in my experience, agents in other states who didn't have that were like, that sounds amazing.
it's gotten a lot of positive media
For
attention
years.
for years because of that. And I think, you know, I say everything has been fine and dandy with it up until the point of now, and I say, and again, I reference Compass and Zillow having, it's out there, this is public information, there's litigation going on, and the issue between the two companies is that when Compass is keeping these listings out of the MLS, right, they're keeping it out of the feeds that go to Zillow. And so Zillow's not able to display those properties, okay? And so in response to that, Zillow basically has created a policy which they have not yet enforced in Illinois. They're just coming to Illinois and starting to essentially talk about it. But the policy that they put into place is that if you keep your property out of being publicly marketed, and I'm not sure exactly what the time frame was, how long that you do that, but if you keep it out, what they will do is that they will not put that listing into Zillow. And if you repeatedly do it, they'll keep all your listings out of Zillow. And so that's what's in battle here right now. Well, MRED's kind of gotten sucked into that, right? Because MRED's got its own private listing network, but you know, again, there's been explanations about, hey, it's not the same thing.
Right.
And so from a realtor's perspective, some of the ways that we use the private listing network, there are individuals that for whatever reason, they don't want their home to be on a public database. Maybe there's a personal issue, maybe there's a divorce. Maybe it's the CEO of a company and they don't want the company to know that they're leaving yet, you know?
Or maybe they're painting and decluttering and you know, not ready for the mass
Those are all
public.
great reasons.
Yes, maybe that realtor is just using it. We tend to use it as a teaser. We'll put it in the private network to create attention for 2 weeks.
Create the buzz, right?
We get the buzz going. We don't let anyone see it yet. This is the date it will be available to see. And then when it's ready to go live, we've created this buzz and everyone's waiting to see it.
Right.
And then the other piece is sometimes you have people transferring or, you know, they all of a sudden found out that their lease is up and they are in a hurry to find a place, might be in the private listing network, and we're getting, we're painting and decluttering and all, not really show ready, but somebody doesn't care because they're in a hurry to find a place.
So I can see.
But once we show it to one, we have to open it up,
Yes.
show it to anyone that asks.
I can see where Zillow, it's obviously not beneficial to their own business model not to have
Right.
all the listings on the system. I get that.
Right.
And, they say rather artfully have stated the case that, hey, look, it's not in anybody's best interest to not have these properties
Yes.
publicly marketed. Zillow, you talk about large, right? They're able to use their market power to say, hey, look, make sure to tell your sellers they're not going to have their listings on Zillow if you continue to do this.
And that's a huge detriment. That is where our consumers shop. It's consumer friendly, it's easy. So whether or not we like Zillow, it is out there and our consumers use it. And for their property not to be there once they're ready to go public is a big deal.
And so anyway, so the conversations between Zillow and MRED has told Zillow in no uncertain terms, not in a mean way, in a nice way, they've told them, look, if you engage in this kind of policy, right, where you're selectively pulling listings out and not displaying them out of an IDX feed, which is what they get. So for everybody out there, understand the IDX program, right? Internet Data Exchange, right? Everybody's listings are in there, and everybody displays everybody else's under IDX rules, right? And without getting into the weeds too much, if you do what Zillow's planning on doing, MRED's saying that would be a violation of our IDX policy, and so we'll pull the IDX feed from you. And then Zillow
You won't have any
of it. So Zillow's response to that has been to go to the individual brokerages out there and say, hey guys, can we get your listings from you directly?
Mm-hmm.
The problem they're running into is that not everybody's responding. It's always kind of tough to do that. So what I'm suggesting to everybody out there right now is I think that sane minds will prevail at some point. They'll figure this out. But if you're hearing about this, that's what this is all about. And if you're a brokerage and you've been approached by Zillow and they ask you and they give you an agreement, my only advice to you is legal counsel. You have to have your attorney review that document. You have to understand fully what it is that you're agreeing to do if you decide that you're going to continue that relationship with Zillow in case that feed is cut off.
Yes. So if you're a seller and you're listening, what questions should they be asking about the private network and how that affects or could affect
And I think that the main thing that sellers need to be educated about, so the seller's question should be, okay, what is this private listing network about? Mm-hmm. And how is it beneficial to me to do this? And you both have already listed some great reasons why a private listing network is a great place to start.
Yes.
Now, MRED, its own statistics, presented not just to the board, their own board, their meetings I sit in on, but they also put out publicly, is that, and I think the number's ridiculous, like 95% of all the listings that go into the private listing network make it to the standard network. So now that doesn't count, they all have to be put over there when they're closed out, but I'm just saying, that's, it seems to me that it's working. That there's very few of these properties that aren't really being marketed fully. So you can explain to your sellers, and sellers, you can ask the question, how is this going to affect the sale of my home? And the answer is, well, I think it's going to enhance it because it's going to give us the ability to pre-market it, create the buzz, get it fixed up, ready to go, make sure that everything, and then it's going to go into the standard network and everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah.
And so I think personally that's what a seller should be focused on is, hey, as they always should be, how is this going to affect me? It's as simple as that. And I'm hopeful that there won't be any other ramifications as we go forward. We'll see.
There always are, though, aren't there?
But it is. It's a funny world.
It is.
Yeah.
Back to the local association. What is the role of the local association in today's real estate industry? What is important about the local association?
Yeah, that's a great question because we're at a point right now, and I throw the word around existential moment, right? In the sense that it's for the real estate professional, I believe that every real estate professional out there needs, you want to call it a second home. For some, it's a primary home, whatever the case may be. You need to have a place to go where you can find those resources that you need to be successful. And the sea change, and I say sea change around here, it's not anybody's fault that things were thought of differently at some point in time at NSBAR and every other association. But we can't think the same way anymore. And in fact, we have a strat planning session when this is being recorded. It's tomorrow.
Right.
And all of our efforts are dedicated towards, okay, we've got to think about how to help our members, business development, how to make money.
Right.
And that's
how do we better serve our members?
Right.
That's what it's all about.
And it is, and it's nice, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of advocacy and the work that associations do to affect legislation, influence candidates. I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is. And yet, for the broker on the street, that's not going to be something that lights your fire.
Right.
What's going to light your fire is, hey, I've got some
Until
ways.
there's a zoning issue in their town.
Well, and then for that moment, right?
Then,
for that moment,
then
you're
they're
right.
interested in advocacy.
So I'm not suggesting that advocacy is unimportant by any stretch, but that's a core service. We're going to be doing that no matter what. The key issue is and what I encourage every new, and I talk to all of our new members at orientation every month, and I say to these guys, it's funny because they always talk about wanting to give back to the industry. And my response to new agents new brokers is, the industry hasn't given you anything yet. Right? So how about if you make sure that you create a great business for yourselves, make great money for yourselves and everything, and then you'll find that there's always a part, and I encourage people to be involved in the association from the get-go, especially with the Young Professionals Network, YPN. Create that network for yourself outside of your office. Get to know about all the great opportunities that you're going to have to build that business. That if you're insular, if you're, it doesn't do the trick. You got to get out there, and the association is a really safe place to do it. It's a great place to come. And by the way, as a side note, as you've already suggested, come see the building. Come enjoy your facility, your campus, and see if we're right now in the video center here. Oh, you need some videos done.
Right.
Right.
I mean,
great studio.
It's there's just
Well, and also, our editor is Mike Collins, the great Mike Collins. And if you're a member of NSBAR, he's usually the favorite benefit because
Yep.
he is your favorite tech guy, and he will solve your problems. You get 30 minutes free.
Right.
Whatever you need, he'll transfer your contacts, he'll fix your Excel spreadsheet, whatever, bring it to him. And he's going to help you figure that out.
Thank you for that. Now, be sure to call ahead
Or
of
if you're
time.
buying a new
you might be eating lunch.
product.
Call ahead of time just to make sure.
Or if you're buying a new product, he's going to give you some feedback on what might be best for your business.
Mike is the secret behind-the-scenes creator of our holiday gift guide. Every year that goes out in December, everybody
Yes.
can.
So our tech bar is a very unique thing to our association.
We're the
that
only
people love.
local association that still has a tech bar. And again, it's part of that personalized service. You want to come in, bring your laptop, like you said. It's real estate related in the sense that you need the technology, but otherwise it's not real estate related. Come on in, we'll help you. And I know for a fact, because I look at the financials, that Mike probably lets you have a little bit more than 30 minutes, but
I even knocked on his door the other day because I needed a charger because my computer died and I was in the middle of something, and I'm like, charge me, please. So it works. Exactly.
But
So-
central lock, all kinds of things he has helped us with.
Yes.
Absolutely. And the staff up front is trained
Yes.
to help with many things, but not all. Many things, but what they can't, they'll either grab Mike or Monty.
Yes.
And but again, it is a culture, and that culture has been here. I think it's been enhanced over these last few years, and it's exciting because I think that not everybody's gonna, not every association's gonna have a place, but I think our association is because of what we're able to provide.
Absolutely. Couple things before we wrap up. One word to describe today's real estate market?
Steady. That's the word I'll use, is steady.
I like that.
We had a lot of input in the past, right, when the market was crazy. Oh,
Right.
boy, and I have to tell you, every broker I speak to now says to me, it's more normal. Maybe normal is a better word than steady, but it's
think
more
steady is a good-
normal.
I like steady.
Yeah.
It's, I'm able to actually do showings and have conversations, and I'm not dealing with 15 offers at one time. So I think that steady normal is what it is, and I think that people like that better.
Mhm.
I do. I
Right.
think our professionals like that better.
It doesn't feel
It's
so
more
chaotic.
balanced.
Yeah.
Yes. What is one thing that agents have to do better in 2026?
Okay, so I'm not going to use the old canard of follow-up, because they could always follow up better. I'm sorry, don't be mad at me, but I think what they can do better is embrace what they're supposed to be doing instead of trying to fight or carve or shortcut. And what I mean by that simply is, instead of looking, and we talked about this already, instead of looking at buyer agency agreements as, oh, I got to do that, look at it as an opportunity, right? And create that opportunity to create that relationship and to educate people and to show them that you know what the heck you're talking about and that you care about them, right? So it's those kind of things that, instead of looking at the next roadblock, oh no, we're going to have non-realtors in no, that's just more people to interact with and to do business with. So I have to tell you, and I'm telling you, you both know this already, realtors, real estate professionals are a resilient bunch.
Yes, we are.
No matter what gets thrown at you, guess what? You come up with a way, you find the way through it. And so the one word I say to the new members when they do orientation, because I get asked this all the time, what's the key to success? And my key to success that I tell them is perseverance. Anybody that I meet in this business that's been doing it for 5 years or more is successful in whatever way they define it. But it's getting to that point. It's coming from A to Z.
Right.
1 to 5, 0 to 5.
And it is, the NAR statistic is that 85% of agents fail in the first 3 years.
Oh, I believe that, for sure.
So
Absolutely.
when you think about that, it's persistence.
It absolutely
The first year, for most of us, is not a blockbuster year. You're just figuring things out.
for
but
obvious
it's
reasons,
persistence.
right? I mean, you don't know what you're doing yet.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, and by the way, speaking of you don't know what you're doing yet, I want to do a quick commercial. You'll be hearing about this very shortly because we're going through a trial phase with it right now. We're creating a boot camp. And for these brand new agents, and again, even if you have programs in your own brokerage that you're going to go through, highly recommend you do this one too. Go to this one too. Putting together a great curriculum, different instructors, with the whole mission behind it is, how are we going to get you your first deal?
Yeah.
How do we get you your first deal? And that's, I think, a great focus, and I'm very excited about it. On the commercial side, by the way, the NICAR people out there, we're working on a commercial boot camp as well, separately.
Awesome.
So that'll give people an opportunity to dip their toe if they don't do commercial right now, maybe to find out a little bit about it, maybe find out enough to know they shouldn't do it. Right?
That might be the case.
Right, but, so
Awesome.
I'm excited about those.
Thank you so much for being with us
Sure, you
today.
kidding?
I think we could talk for hours
We could.
about everything
Absolutely.
that
Because this is our industry, so we could talk for a really long time.
and NSBAR
I love
has so
talking
much to
about it.
offer.
Well, I appreciate
So
that,
stay
and
tuned. More will
working on
come, I'm sure.
Thank you both for
Thanks, Jeff.
No, thank
And
you.
come visit us at NSBAR and
And-
tune in again at Help.
Nobody told me.